Hi everyone, Michael Cavacini here, and it is the day after Labor Day. It is a rainy Tuesday here in Philadelphia, and I just wanted to share some exciting news with you. Today is a new release that's out by Stephen King, Fairy Tale, a book that's been talked about quite a bit over the past few months, leading up to today, when it's now available. I started listening to the audiobook version of Fairy Tale this morning on Audible, and yeah, so far it's really entertaining and engrossing. I have no idea where it's going, and I like that. I'm just very intrigued by what's happened so far in the beginning of the book, and just wondering where he's going to take me on this story that is already getting 5-star reviews from readers on Amazon. And speaking of Amazon, if you want to get a copy of Fairy Tale for yourself, click down below for a link where you can get a copy for 35% less than the regular price. For those of you who aren't familiar with Fairy Tale, here's the summary. Legendary storyteller Stephen King goes into the deepest well of his imagination in this spellbinding novel about a 17-year-old boy who inherits the keys to a parallel world where good and evil are at war. And the stakes could not be higher. For that world or ours. Charlie Reed looks like a regular high school kid, great at basketball and football, a decent student. But he carries a heavy load. His mom was killed by a hit-and-run accident when he was 10, and grief drove his dad to drink. Charlie learned how to take care of himself and his dad. When Charlie is 17, he meets a dog named Radar and his aging master, Howard Bowditch, a recluse in a big house at the top of a big hill, with a locked shed in the backyard. Sometimes strange sounds emerge from it. Charlie starts doing jobs for Mr. Botwitch and loses his heart to Radar. Then, when Botwitch dies, he leaves Charlie a cassette tape telling a story no one would believe. What Botwitch knows, and has kept secret all his long life, is that inside the shed is a portal to another world. King's storytelling and fairy tale soars. This is a magnificent and terrifying tale in which good is pitted against overwhelming evil, and a heroic boy and his dog must lead the battle. Early in the pandemic, King asked himself, what could you write that would make you happy? As if my imagination had been waiting for the question to be asked, I saw a vast, deserted city, deserted but alive. I saw the empty streets, the haunted buildings, a gargoyle head lying overturned in the street. I saw smashed statues of what I didn't know, but I eventually found out. I saw a huge, sprawling palace with glass towers so high their tips pierced the clouds. Those images released the story I wanted to tell. So as I mentioned, I started listening to this audiobook this morning, and I made it to the part where you find out about the mother and the father's drinking and all that, but I have not made it beyond that point. So I'm just learning about, this kid's life and what he's going through, and yeah, it's just very real. Stephen King is just one of those writers where whether you're listening to an audiobook or reading a physical book or an ebook of his, the writing is done in a way where the characters feel three-dimensional, and that is very much the case in this book, even just within the first few pages that I've listened to. So that is Fairy Tale by Stephen King. How many of you had pre-ordered it and got yourself a copy? Have you started reading it? If so, what do you think about it? And what's your favorite Stephen King book? Feel free to comment down below, and also down below is that link so you can get 35% off the brand new book from Stephen King, Fairy Tale. I hope you enjoy it on this rainy day here in Philadelphia. It's a great day to be reading, and I hope you have a copy of Fairy Tale to curl up with and keep you warm on this rainy day in September. So thanks so much for tuning in, and happy reading.